where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do a discussion about Gamera. Yes, I know the title says Godzilla King of Monsters 2019, but the reason we're bringing up Gamera is because last week's video, a lot of you guys had questions about Gamera and the chances of ever seeing him in Legendary. And rather than just repeat answering the questions in the next Godzilla Q&A video, I figured I'd just do a video altogether about it. The most common question amongst him, because there were questions also about whether or not he's going to have his movie, stuff like that, but the most common question was, will we ever see him in the Legendary series? And while you guys know, after learning a couple years back of Toho allowing Legendary to use 3 of their monsters, after learning that Spider-Man was going to be in the MCU, the last thing I want to do is for 100% certainty to say no. So what I will say is highly unlikely. If there was going to ever be a Gamera in the Legendary series, we would have heard about it by now. Right now, they're setting up their little mini monster universe. Whether it goes beyond the Godzilla vs. Kong movie, time will tell. But right now, as I've said in my prior videos, what we're getting now is what we're getting, as far as we can tell. Nothing more, nothing less. Gamera, as much as I love the monster, as much as I'm sure Thomas Tull, who is known to be a huge Godzilla fan, as much as he must love Gamera, because I'm sure he does, I just don't think a flying turtle is going to work to American audiences. I just don't. It'll be a tough sell. It'll be a tough sell. Godzilla, as popular as he is, and as much as people know who he is, even he is a tough sell, which is why they had to try to keep it as traditional as possible in terms of, yes, making their own design, but making that design with the spirit and similarities of Toho's creation. Gamera would be a very, very tough sell. I think if they were to do it, the only way they could really sell it is if, A, he doesn't fly, because that would just be absurd. It would. As much as I love it, and I know you guys, a lot of you guys get upset sometimes because I know that I sound not very optimistic at times, but when I make these assessment videos and I try to answer your questions, I try to be as honest as possible, and I try to give you the general viewer's perspective and the business decision as to why it wouldn't happen. It's not because I don't want it. It's not because I don't like it. It's because, I've been in business. I'm a career guy, stuff like that, and I've seen over the years how people react to things that can potentially be cheesy. Oftentimes they laugh, or they don't take it seriously. Legendary wants people to take their series seriously. Not too seriously, but serious enough that they want to immerse them in a world that they think might be possible. You can't do that with a flying turtle. You just can't. It won't work. With the theme they're trying to set up. And look, for all intents and purposes, they could go off course for the next couple of movies and say, all right, we need to step it up a notch. We need to go a little bit cheesier, a little bit more action-packed, and maybe not be so dark and gritty, as a popular term. So Gamera does not fit. He doesn't fit the universe. They're going to have a hard time in and of itself selling Mothra. That's going to be their toughest sell. Ghidorah is not going to be a tough sell. Ghidorah will be a tough story to tell, but a 3-headed flying dragon would 100% be more acceptable than a flying moth. And even a flying moth will be more acceptable than a flying turtle that spins in the air, shooting rockets out of its... come on, guys, really? Just the thought of it, it is kind of funny. I love this. Look, the Heisei Gamera series is one of my favorite kaiju series ever. And as much as I love Godzilla, and I love the Godzilla Heisei era because they had a lot of good movies, I consider Gamera at least on a minimum equal terms, and in some ways exceeding the Godzilla Heisei series. Godzilla's big advantage is he has more movies, and some of those movies are very good. So, yeah, and not only that, Gamera just doesn't have that kind of clout. He doesn't. You guys have to, this is something I've been preaching since I started doing this. You guys have to put yourself in a mindset that not everyone are kaiju fans. We are the minority. The minority. In other words, if they made Godzilla movies just for us, we would only ever see one. You know why? Because nobody else would go and see it. And the reason we would only ever see one is because we are the minority. We would not generate enough revenue for it to be worth it for them to do another one. So you got to understand, they're making these movies they try to fit a happy medium. They want to try and please the fan, but they want to please the general audience. And they were successful with G14. They split the fan base, which honestly, if you're gonna do something like what they did, that's actually a victory. If you can split the fan base where half of them love it and half of them don't, then you won. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to lose the original fan base, because you need them to drive it forward, and then you depend on the general audience to generate your revenue. They succeeded with doing that. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that don't like G14. I'm aware of that. Believe me, I've been hearing it for years. But there's enough fans of Kaiju and Godzilla that like it, that combined with the general audience has moved it forward. And it's going to continue to move it forward. You know, because the other thing, too, is even the people who hate the movie will still go and see the next one. Just because they don't fathom the idea of not seeing a Godzilla movie, for better or for worse. So, in that sense, what they have now, they're good to go. They can go forward with their plans. Unfortunately, I don't see Gamera involved. And that also would complicate things on a corporate level. You have to remember that contracts work differently when they move out of states. Japanese contracts, when it comes to copywritten or not, property that belongs to them. For example, Godzilla, they can break that contract whenever they want. They don't have to honor it on a piece of paper. If it's on their terms, and I can tell you right now it was, if they don't like what Legendary is doing with Godzilla, they'll just tell them to scrap it altogether. Now, honestly, even if they didn't like what they were doing, they're not going to do that anyway because they lose a lot of money. They didn't like what Roland Emmerich did to Godzilla in 98, but they still went through with it. Why? Because they made money. So for that reason, and then after what they made with 2014, which allowed them to actually make Shin Gojira, I know people, oh no, they planned Shin Gojira beforehand. I get it. But to produce the movie, to actually make the movie, they needed the revenue made from G14. So once again, G14 played a huge role in that. They're not going to want to lose that revenue, especially after the fact that Shin Gojira was such a big hit. I'm more than sure they have plans to go forward with another movie. So I think in terms of what we see, Godzilla, I think we're fine there. Gamera, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for this mystery movie that they've been talking about for God knows how long. We've seen a concept mini trailer that looked great. I loved it, and I want to see more. But right now, it could be that the production company working on a movie just wants the Godzilla stuff to die down a bit. Maybe wait until the American Godzilla starts to heat up again, and then they can go ahead and release a Gamera in Japan after the Shin Gojira craze falls. And who knows? I don't know. I'm not a fly on the wall. I wish I was. But in terms of ever seeing Gamera in Legendary, I'm going to take a strong bet that it's going to be a no. Now, if they ever actually did it, I would be pleasantly shocked, and I would be very excited to see how they're going to work it. But when you consider his origins and what he's capable of, somehow, and this is where I got to give Japanese credit, somehow they make a flying turtle look really cool. I actually honestly don't know if America could pull that off. Not with the audiences here. Japan, they have a very, very rich culture and very creative minds. Some people consider them very freaky minds, that nothing is outlandish to them. A flying turtle to them is like, whatever. But a flying turtle here is like, people just laugh. It wouldn't be taken seriously. So unfortunately, guys, I say you'd have to wait to see if we ever get that other movie. If they were going to do a Gamera in Legendary, we would have heard of it by now. We would have gotten an inkling. They would have maybe done a triple threat match, a Gamera, King Kong, and Godzilla. Who knows? But as it stands, they're sticking with Godzilla. They're sticking with Kong, Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan. And you know what? I'm more than happy for that. I never in a million years thought we would ever see an American iteration of three of the most iconic kaijus out of Japan. And to me, that's cherry on top. I'm not going to get greedy and look for Gamera and stuff like that. Let's not get greedy. We got what we got. Let's see what Legendary does with it. And just hope for the best with the next Gamera movie, if it ever comes out. So, but that's it, guys. That's it for this video. We'll be back probably either tomorrow or Friday with the second Godzilla video, which will be a Q&A. So if you have any questions or any answers or any suggestions, leave them in the comments for this video, and I'll overlook them, and we'll take care of them either tomorrow or Friday. Until then, this is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. You can follow ETN on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, or join the Nation Facebook page. Don't forget to click that subscribe button on your way out. You're watching ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do a discussion about Gamera. Yes, I know the title says Godzilla King of Monsters 2019, but the reason we're bringing up Gamera is because last week's video, a lot of you guys had questions about Gamera and the chances of ever seeing him in Legendary. And rather than just repeat answering the questions in the next Godzilla Q&A video, I figured I'd just do a video altogether about it. The most common question amongst him, because there were questions also about whether or not he's going to have his movie, stuff like that, but the most common question was, will we ever see him in the Legendary series? And while you guys know, after learning a couple years back of Toho allowing Legendary to use 3 of their monsters, after learning that Spider-Man was going to be in the MCU, the last thing I want to do is for 100% certainty to say no. So what I will say is highly unlikely. If there was going to ever be a Gamera in the Legendary series, we would have heard about it by now. Right now, they're setting up their little mini monster universe. Whether it goes beyond the Godzilla vs. Kong movie, time will tell. But right now, as I've said in my prior videos, what we're getting now is what we're getting. As far as we can tell, nothing more, nothing less. Gamera